Some stories are funny, some are uncomfortable, and some make you sit there afterward wondering how close everything came to going horribly wrong. What you're about to hear are true Reddit stories told by people who found themselves in situations they never planned for, dates that turned disturbing, accidents that changed lives, moments that crossed invisible lines. These aren't heroes and villains, just ordinary people reacting in real time, sometimes wisely, sometimes terribly. So as you listen, ask yourself this: if you were in their place, would you have done anything differently? Story 1. Tinder date with a nuclear plant worker. I'm 27, and a few weeks ago I went on a Tinder date that I still can't stop thinking about. On paper, he seemed fine. He was 32, worked at a nuclear power plant, sounded confident over text. Maybe a little intense, but I figured some people just don't come across well online. The first red flag was that he showed up 45 minutes late. No apology, no explanation. He sat down like nothing had happened and immediately started talking about his job. Not just explaining it, bragging. He kept emphasizing that he was a shift leader in the control room, how everything ran through him, how much authority he had. At first, I tried to be polite. I asked questions. I nodded. But the way he talked about people made my skin crawl. He used dehumanizing words. He talked about people like they were beneath him, like they were pests. He laughed while saying how much he hated everyone around him and how stupid people were. I tried to steer the conversation somewhere else. Movies, hobbies, anything. He always brought it back to his job. That's when it got worse. He started talking about power, about how most people have no idea what's really happening behind the scenes. He said things like, if people knew how fragile everything was, they'd panic. Then he leaned in, smiling, and said he knew exactly how to trigger a reactor core meltdown. He laughed. At first, I told myself he was joking. Dark humor, poor taste. But the more he talked, the more it sounded like he enjoyed the idea, like he got some kind of thrill out of knowing he could cause something catastrophic if he wanted to. I remember sitting there thinking, this man hates people, and he works in a place where one mistake could ruin millions of lives. I suddenly felt very aware of the fact that I was alone with him. I cut the date short, made an excuse, went home, locked my door. But I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying his words in my head, wondering if he was just trying to sound edgy or if I'd just spent an hour listening to someone fantasize about mass destruction. I thought about how easy it would be to dismiss it as a bad date, a creepy joke, something to laugh off later. But what if it wasn't? What if I ignored it and something actually happened someday? After a lot of back and forth in my head, I reported him to the FBI. I didn't embellish anything. I just told them exactly what he said and how it made me feel. And ever since, I've been second-guessing myself. Some of my friends think I did the right thing, that when someone talks like that, especially with that kind of access, you don't take chances. Others think I overreacted, that I might have ruined someone's career over a bad joke and a terrible personality. I don't know. All I know is this: I'd rather live with the discomfort of wondering if I went too far than the guilt of knowing I stayed quiet when something felt genuinely wrong. And honestly, if that makes me paranoid, I can live with that.
Story 2. The hospital accident I'll never live down. I was 18 and I had just started dating this really sweet guy. Everything was new, awkward, and gentle in that early relationship way. For some context, I have a chronic stomach condition that flares up badly when I'm stressed. About a month into dating, I ended up in the hospital for a week. He was amazing the entire time. Visited, checked in constantly, never made me feel like a burden. When I finally got home, my body was wrecked. I hadn't eaten or drunk anything all week because of medical tests, so everything inside me had basically shut down. The doctors gave me laxatives. I'd never taken them before. That night, we were lying in bed. I was on my side, scrolling on my phone. He was half sitting up, playing RuneScape on his laptop. I felt a fart coming on and smirked at him, thinking it would be funny. I meant to say, "I'm farting." What came out was not that. The second I said it, I lost control, completely, still making eye contact. There was this awful, wet, bubbly sound, and I instantly knew what had happened. My smile disappeared. I panicked. My hand flew down, but it was too late. He jumped up immediately, ran to the bathroom, brought me paper, helped me clean up, and he was laughing. Not in a mean way, just pure disbelief. Later, he told me it was the most intimidating thing he'd ever experienced, the way I stared into his soul and then absolutely destroyed the moment. He said he'd never felt so dominated in his life. We got very comfortable with intimacy after that. We broke up years ago, but I still feel secondhand embarrassment thinking about it. Story 3. The laundromat girl who never came back. I'm 27 and I usually do laundry early in the morning. It's quiet, empty, peaceful. One day, a woman in her early 20s came in. Messy hair, oversized sleep shirt, pajama bottoms. Honestly, she looked adorable. We talked a bit. She laughed. It felt easy. 2 weeks later, I saw her again. Same time, same place. We chatted, then she left her clothes unattended to run errands, which confused me. I jokingly pointed out the sign that said not to do that. She shrugged it off. When she tried to leave again, I told her I'd stay and watch her clothes so no one stole them. She said I didn't have to, but I did anyway. She came back late, thanked me, we said goodbye, and then I never saw her again. Weeks passed. I kept wondering if I'd made her uncomfortable, if I'd crossed a line without realizing it. I thought we had a connection, but maybe I was the only one who felt that way, and maybe that was the problem. Story 4. Check my ass. My husband and I were in bed one night, scrolling on our phones in the dark. I had a blanket over my legs when I felt something crawl across my skin. I panicked. I ripped the covers off, started screaming, and we both jumped out of bed. I was losing my mind. In my panic, I pulled my pants down, turned around, and yelled, "Check my ass." Without hesitation, my husband grabbed a flashlight and actually checked. A couple minutes later, we finally spotted the spider crawling across the bed. He smashed it with his crock. We changed the sheets and laughed about it afterward. To this day, it's one of those moments where you realize marriage means there are no limits anymore.
Story 5. I lied about cheating. My girlfriend confessed to cheating on me one night. She said it only happened once and she was drunk, like that somehow made it better. I snapped. I told her I'd been cheating the entire relationship, that I'd been sleeping with another woman consistently. It wasn't true, but it broke her. She screamed, demanded details, completely lost it. I broke up with her and kicked her out. Then I invited my friends over and laughed about it. It felt good in the moment, like I'd taken my power back. Later, I read a comment from someone who tried the same thing and their ex showed up and tried to kill them. That's when it hit me how dangerous that lie could have been. Story 6. Christmas Eve that saved my brother's life. On Christmas Eve, my husband, my brother, and I were visiting our grandparents. We were playing Scrabble, drinking whiskey, relaxing. My younger brother was drinking too, but pretending he wasn't. Suddenly, he stood up and collapsed. He was unconscious. He'd peed himself. We rushed him to the ER. His blood alcohol level was dangerously high. During scans, the doctors noticed a mark on his head from the fall and ordered a CT scan. That's when they found it. A brain tumor, 2 centimeters. It needed surgery immediately. If he hadn't collapsed that night, they never would have found it. Sneaking whiskey during Scrabble saved his life. Story 7. I put sawdust in my girlfriend's food. I'm 32 and I've been with my girlfriend for almost 3 years. When we met, she struggled with her weight, depression, and anxiety. Over time, she worked hard and made incredible progress. Recently, she started gaining weight again. Her mental health began slipping. I could see it happening. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so instead of talking to her, I started adding small amounts of sawdust to her food. I thought it would make her feel full faster and help her eat less. I told myself I was helping. My brother caught me doing it. He was furious. He said it was manipulative and abusive and told me I had to tell her or he would. I told him I'd stop, but I didn't see why I had to tell her and undo the progress she'd made. I genuinely believed I was doing what was best. Now I'm being forced to choose between honesty and control, and I don't know which one will hurt her more. Every story in this video started out normal. A date, a relationship, a family gathering, an attempt to help someone you care about. And then one decision shifted everything. Sometimes the outcome is funny, sometimes it's unsettling,
And sometimes it leaves you realizing how thin the line is between harmless and dangerous. So now I want to hear from you. Which story stayed with you the most? Which one crossed the line? And which one do you think people are judging too harshly? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you're here for true Reddit stories that don't talk down to you and don't give easy answers, this is Reddit Echoes. I'll see you in the next story.